Now we've got quite a range of parts here. Thank you for digging these out. These have come out of the bins in the production area.
Yes.
How many parts are you printing now, roughly? Do you know?
Probably somewhere between 60 and 80 at the moment of parts. Our machines are made up typically of anywhere between 580 and 620 individual parts. So the more complicated machine like the TD50
yes.
Is made up of around 620 parts, and that ranges from the wash tank through to all the nuts and washers and terminals, etc. that you use. So at the moment probably 60 to 80 parts across our range of products.
That's great.
But I think it's fair to say that we've identified probably that again in terms of parts that we could potentially print.
You tell an interesting story about this part in particular. Can you just tell us a little bit about this part? It's a beautiful looking part, I have to say, but I would say that.
Yeah, this is what we call it a control panel bezel moulding. So this is made out of, or was made out of a plastic mould, and that plastic mould would have also used additional parts. This part we've had made for a while, and what happens sometimes with suppliers is that they end up getting taken over with other companies, or they end up losing your tool, and in this situation the supplier had lost the tool.
Right.
So it meant having a new tool, or having to have a new tool made. You then need to buy in volume. So in this case we would need to have bought 1,000 of these, to have made it work. And so we went back to the drawing board and designed this as a 3D part. And we ended up with the benefit then of removing parts that we normally have purchased for the way that we used to make them, and ended up with just this one part.
That's wonderful.
And that, for us. And it means that we can, as I say, do a much smaller print run on stuff like this, because you only need 20 at a time, for example, rather than needing 1,000. So that's been good for us.
That's a great story. So a problem with the supply chain forced you down to a different route, really.
Having 3D printing allowed us to have a different route. If we hadn't have had the 3D printers, then we would have been in a situation of having to find either another supplier, but ultimately we would have still ended up with either buying a tool, and getting the part made, or redesigning that part of the machine to get around the issue or the fact that you haven't now got a tool. So having 3D printing allows you to be able to do that and to have that flexibility, if you like.
Okay, great. So